Assalamu alaikum and good day, ma'am. My name is Shahana Odin and I will be the first presenter from the group 10. And our topic is about the effective program in bilingual education. So let's start with the learning objectives. Number one, identify and differentiate between the various types of bilingual education programs. Number two, analyze the relationship between bilingualism and second language acquisition within the context of bilingual education. Introduction. Bilingual education, strictly speaking, involves teaching in two or more languages in schools. But for the reason discussed in the previous paper, a bewildering variety of programs can claim a connection to the use of plural languages in education. Some school systems claim to practice bilingual education because their cultural minority students know another language aside from the one used in schools. But such programs with a monolingual medium of formal instruction do not actually represent a type of bilingual education at all. Their students may be bilingual for the time being, despite not because of monolingual school systems that are designed to assimilate minorities. The introduction highlights the diverse and often confusing range of educational programs that claim to be bilingual, despite varying significantly in their approach to language instruction. The true definition of bilingual education is teaching in multiple languages is often not met by many programs. One example of a program that might claim to be bilingual but isn't would be a school where students who speak a language other than the school's primary language are simply immersed in the majority language without any support for their native tongue. The school might claim it's offering bilingual education because the students are bilingual, but the school's methods don't actually promote bilingualism. They aim for assimilation into the majority language, resulting potential loss of students' first language. Some schools falsely claim to be bilingual simply because their students are already bilingual. These schools use only one language for instruction, aiming to assimilate minority students into the dominant language rather than actively supporting both languages. Let us now proceed to the types of bilingual education. With such diverse aims and resulting educational systems existing in the world, a taxonomy can only classify common patterns. But based on worldwide research sources, Baker has formulated 10 types of bilingual education, spanning 4 editions of his Foundation of Bilingual Education and Bilingualism. Meaning, due to the wide variety of bilingual education programs, researcher Baker created a classification system called taxonomy of 10 common types based on global research to organize and understand the different approaches. The book was considered so important that OCA 1996 translated the whole first edition into Japanese. With its title suggesting a close connection between bilingualism and second language acquisition, the author could thus make bilingual chart adopted from Baker 2001 and OCA 1996. With this, Baker's work on bilingual education is highly influential, evidenced by its translation into Japanese. The book's title and content highlight the strong link between bilingualism and second language learning, informing the creation of bilingual charts summarizing different types of programs. Okay, let's proceed. Type of bilingual education. So we have the weak form and strong form. So in my part, I will discuss the first two weak forms. Weak forms of bilingual education. Type of program, submersion. Structured immersion. The typical students is language minority. So these are students whose native language differs from dominant language of the schools and surrounding community. And next is the language used in the classroom, majority language, meaning only the majority language is used in the classroom. There is no formal support for the students' native language. Next is the educational or societal aim, assimilation. The goal is to integrate language minority students into the dominant culture by having them adopt the majority language as their primary means of communication. Then the language outcomes. Monolingualism. The expected outcomes is that students will become monolingual speaker of the majority language, potentially losing fluency in their native language. So that is the submersion, structured immersion. The next one is submersion with withdrawal classes or sheltered English. Typical students, language minority, language used in classroom, majority language. Meaning, primarily the majority language in the main classroom. However, there are supplemental pull-out classes in the student's second language. These classes are held separately from the main instruction, designed to be more accessible to language learners. Next is educational or societal aim. Again, assimilation. The aim remains assimilation. Even the addition of L2 support, the focus is still on achieving fluency in the majority language. And the language outcome, again, it's monolingualism. While language 2 support is provided, the overall goal and predicted outcome is still monolingualism in the majority language. So that's all for my part. The next forms will present by Mr. Jorillo and Ms. Ensalada. Thank you so much for listening.